Sometimes when a traditional medical model fails, it's time to look for other programs. And today's discussion is going to be about one of such programs. I'm Annette from Nothing Without Us, Stories and Discussions of Meaningful Inclusion. I hope you enjoy this episode. Please drop me a like if you do. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can subscribe for free. And also, please tell your friends. You can subscribe for free, although there are some episodes, particularly the sub-series Bitch on Wheels, that are behind the paywall. Okay, so today I am really pleased to have as my guest Carrie Callahan, a doctor of physical therapy, and she is one of the original founders of Empower SCI, which is a nonprofit corporation established to enable individuals with spinal cord injuries to lead happier, more meaningful, and more independent lives. Welcome, Carrie. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. So, why don't we tell people what Empower is and why do we need such an organization?
Empower, we're a nonprofit organization, and we offer our biggest core programming is our summer intensive programs, which offer people an opportunity to go from surviving to thriving post spinal cord injury. So that's kind of our tagline, if you will. But a lot of times in the typical rehabilitation process, there is the opportunity to learn how to live again. So, how to take care of basic needs and get out of bed, move from one place to the other to the next,
Mm.
take care of those basics. But then people go home from rehab and they have an opportunity to do some outpatient rehab, which are just smaller tidbits, less intensity. And a lot of those bigger items, like learning how to thrive, learning how to, what do I want to do with my life? Where is my passion? How do I want to recreate? How do I want to get outside or be active? Like those aren't the key focuses. So our programs, we hope to offer people a chance to look at that at a time in their life that maybe is a little bit further down the line in the recovery post injury, when someone's a little bit more willing to focus on that next step. What do I want to do with my life? Where do I want to go with it? And how do I get there? And that's what we hope to offer people a chance to do through. So we have summer intensive programs that run for 1 to 2 weeks in the summertime, kind of like a summer camp, if you will. And then we also offer some virtual programming and then some day events throughout the year, that are like kind of community-based events to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, like I said, I did visit once, and I will tell you my impressions when we get to the part that I visited. So, uh,
Ooh,
I
I can't
was
wait to hear.
fine. No, it was great. Why do you think I invited you here, right? Um, so what led you to get involved and start this? I know you have two partners in this endeavor. Yeah.
My background is in physical therapy. So I was involved and I worked in inpatient rehab at one of the major rehab centers up here in New England. And it was a chance to see that really acute stage of post-injury. And insurance is covering less and less and less as far as reimbursement for inpatient stay. I mean, across the board, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but um,
Yeah.
there was so much that we didn't get to during that time that's like seemed critical to the things that are important to me in my life, and being able to provide those sorts of opportunities for people that
Mm.
um, have gone through a traumatic event like a spinal cord injury and are just trying to sort it out. So um, myself and Jess, and Liz, who are the other two co-founders, we all were part of a program called Shake a Leg, which is a kind of like a similar model in Rhode Island.
Right. I'm
That
familiar with that.
are familiar.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that organization or that program ended, and we were like, this is so important. We need to find a way to create this opportunity again for people. And also, I feel like we've added our own kind of culture and our own kind of feels to that sort of a style of a program that we're really proud to offer every year.
Right. I think that's great. It's it has a lot of facets to it. Can you tell me how it works? Like what are the mechanics of it, so to speak?
Yeah, so for our summer intensive programs specifically, there's a lot of different pieces. The core directors are the only people that are paid for the people that are running the event. Everybody else, it's all volunteer based. Other than that, so we have clinical specialists that come in and are there to provide physical and occupational therapy and that are specialized in spinal cord care. So, and then we have our PT and OT kind of students and younger clinicians or less experienced clinicians that provide round the clock care. So they go through a staff training and then provide care around the clock for anybody that needs support while on campus. And then we offer recreational activities throughout the experience. And we have peer mentors that stay right on site as well, and are there to provide kind of some of the one-on-one time with the participants and also help to organize the education and some of the social outings and to be a part of the recreational activities as well.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it's a lot of moving parts. We have a lot of different pieces. I think the other
Right.
big pieces are rehab counseling. So kind of focusing on the mental health aspect of, living life with a disability, the trauma that comes along with these traumatic events that happen to people. And people are able to kind of share those experiences and um, kind of problem solve how they deal with different situations that come up as well.
Right. Um, I'll tell you what really struck me on this visit. It was a peer mentor session.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't know any of the names or couldn't possibly remember from there, but it was a young woman who was, talking about hints to bringing you back to yourself because you've got a new body and things don't work the way they used to. And she identified with wearing flip-flops. She had always worn flip-flops, and after a spinal cord injury, that's a little tricky, you know.
Yep.
And she talked about how she had taken stockings that really closely matched her skin and made strips that would tie the flip-flop around her ankle, and you couldn't see it, but she had that back. And
Yeah.
and that is so meaningful. That
Yep.
little thing, it seems like a very little thing to so many people, but if you've been through it, you know that being able to remember that you're still yourself in that body is so
Mhm.
important, and that somebody was showing you, here's one way, and to think about it in that way, I thought was
Mhm.
so important. Um,
Well, I feel like that's just it. It's like there's peer mentors that are there to help to facilitate some of this, but a lot of things happen. It's just getting people together that if somebody has figured out a way to do something. It might not be a device that you can purchase online to help you with this said task, but I'll always remember the one thing that sticks in my head from one of these sessions where, we're sharing tips and tricks. So we call them the life hacks, kind of our life hacks
yeah,
session
but
was somebody was talking about how they had a tough time taking medication, and somebody else was like, or picking up medication, with poor hand function or
and
hand function that really doesn't work,
right.
to pick up tiny tiny things.
You
And
should
so
try
she's like, oh yeah.
diabetic test strips.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
She's like, yeah, I just lick my finger and then I tap it down and my
Yeah,
spit makes it stick to my finger and then I can take it. And it's like
yeah,
all these little things that like you might not think about until you have this struggle. And then the door opens when somebody says, "Oh yeah, you have a finger and you have your spits, so you should be able to do this too." And it's like it just
right.
opens up the possibilities.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it is, I think of that whenever I think of that program.
Mhm.
Um, and whenever I think of people asking me, like, where can I find, how can I do? Um, because I'm more kind of a general information type person, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So, you know, so that role of the peer mentors, I think, is so incredibly important. There have been things in my life that I have learned from other people with spinal cord injury that no therapist, no doctor ever even thought to mention.
Yeah.
It just was not on the radar. So, that's, I think so. And that's actually, the thrust of this podcast is meaningful inclusion. And I
Hmm.
think peer mentoring, peer advising, peer support is, the most meaningful inclusion that you can find. So,
For sure. I think that's as a clinician, as a physical therapist myself, I try to learn from anybody that I work with on like how, how they move their bodies, but
right,
to have a peer mentor with a similar level of injury, especially
yeah,
in on some of those sessions where you're teaching like floor to chair transfers, which I've seen thousands of times with lots of different bodies do it, but to be able to have a peer mentor there that can say how it feels or like, explain what's worked for them and help to problem solve through is they're always the most impactful sessions.
yeah, right. I agree. So that alone is worth the price of admission. So,
It yeah, it is. And it's
yeah,
nice. There's a lot of at our programs, we're not there aren't any requirements. We're not, I want to say like chained to insurance requirements. So we're not under any thumb to be productive. There's no productivity requirements for clinicians or anything like that. So there's a ton of
right,
collaboration with peer mentors between, physical PT and OT with, TR with the recreational specialists as well.
yeah,
Um, so there's a lot of opportunity for this like kind of brain melding together in like trying to sort out if this is the issue, what do we have to be able to fix this? And I
mm,
think one of our other pieces that's like has been really impactful as well is we have we call it our adaptation station. So we have occupational therapists and engineers that kind of get together and can help to create some custom equipment for people too that have very specific needs that um, need a piece of equipment that works just for them. And so it's been really nice to have to add that to our mix as well. And I think one of our former participants who was a peer mentor we called him our resident MacGyver for a while, but he kind of has created that program based on how he's been able to like use his engineer mind to help improve things for others too.
yeah. And that's good because, I know a few engineers that are really good problem solvers, and that's important to be able to have that. And he has the experience, the life experience as well. So, I mean, you do definitely build on life experience.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I feel like anybody that has to problem solve around how to having tetraplegia or having quadriplegia without like full use of hands. And
mm,
I feel like you have to turn into an engineer at some point because you're kind of problem solving all of these struggles, throughout the day to figure out what works easiest and what's best.
right. Yeah. Yes, for sure. So, I intend to put your website in the description of this, episode. What do you want to say about soliciting volunteers and donations, etc.?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we have our applications are now open for volunteers. So we have applications for our residential aid position, which is a really great opportunity for students either that are in allied health or are interested in the allied health field of physical therapy, occupational therapy, nursing, medical school, any of those. It's a really great opportunity to learn more about living life with a disability, and also, life specific to spinal cord injury and spinal cord injury rehab. So those applications are open currently. We have two summer programs in Rhode Island this year. So we have a 1 week adult program in July and a 1 week teen and young adult program in August. And then we have one program out in Montana in June that is our another adult program. So the residential aid position, those applications are open. We also have open applications for our clinical specialists, which are um, physical therapists, occupational therapists, nurses, and our recreation therapists as well. Um, those applications are open. I think we're filling up on our physical therapists, but I think the other positions we still have some opportunities. And those can be found right on our website under the applications or the volunteer tab, I should say. And then applications for our summer programs are open right now. So they're typically open between January and middle of April to May of each year. So all three program applications are available for people to attend and participate. Our peer mentor applications are open as well. And yeah, we're always interested in, anybody that's willing to come and help out at the programs. You're provided room and board in kind of in exchange for your willingness to be a part of the team. And I think from a financial standpoint, we have opportunities for sponsorship throughout the year, separate specific event sponsorship um, or full program sponsorship, depending on what tier people are interested in. So we're always looking for support because we are largely a volunteer-based program, but there is a cost, and we'd like to try not to have all the costs be brought down to the participant fees. So we
Right.
about 1/3 of what it takes to cost or to run the program is what we we charge for a participant fee. So there are some other costs involved.
Right.
So we're always looking for support.
Okay. Now where, you still have the one in Stony Brook too, as well as
So
Montana?
this year we don't. Nope. So this is our first year. We had been at Stony Brook from 2012 up until 2024, and then this is our first year bringing our adult program up to New England Tech, which is in Rhode Island.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that was gonna ask where in Rhode Island, New England Tech, right,
Yep.
yeah,
So East Greenwich is the town.
right, and they have an OT program there too, didn't they? Yeah,
Yep, they do. They have OT, OTA, and then PT assistant as well.
okay, all right, cool. Well,
Yeah.
that's great, yeah. Um,
That's Liz, who's one of our co-founders. That's where she works for her. She's on the academic team there.
right, and I did see that Monique from Johnson and Wales is also on your team there.
Yep.
So, um, being in academics, you have access to all the latest and greatest. So that's really good. Um,
Yeah. She's also been integral in like helping to um, formalize some of our OT like capstone projects and those sorts of things.
yeah,
Yep.
well, that's good. Yeah,
And developing our clinical specialist team. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
All right, well, that's pretty awesome. Anything else you want to add before we go?
Um, no, it's been, I mean, thank you so much for the opportunity to chat today. And it's always good to get the word out about our organization. I think it largely is word of mouth with people that have been involved in the program and kind of understand the impact that are able to relay that information to others. So being able to get the word out in other avenues is really great. And if anybody out there is interested in learning more, we're more than happy to chat. Or and there's also a ton of resources and videos and things online on our website.
Well, I do thank you so much for doing this with me.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Anytime.
Thank you for listening. I'm Annette from Nothing Without Us. I think this was a really great episode with Carrie Callahan from Empower SCI. I will have in the notes ways that you can get more information about this program. In the meantime, if you like this podcast, please drop me a like, and some comments are always welcome. And please tell your friends. Your friends can find us on patreon.com/nothing without us. I can also be found on YouTube and all your Audible podcasts, including Spotify. So I would really love to have 100 members. This is our first year anniversary, and I am falling shy of this goal. So please tell your friends, please subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. Until the next Nothing Without Us, I'm Annette.